Paul and Gloria consider prepping for the apocalypse a full-time job. They dedicate 50 hours a week to storing food, building up defenses, and designing gadgets, all to improve their chance of survival after the end of days.
So in the show, they go through all sorts of different stuff about, and I'm for anybody that's just getting into preparedness and hasn't watched it, it's kind of cool to watch and just see what different people are doing. But for a lot of people watching this, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that crap. But this dude, in my opinion, this dude had what we all talk about as far as if you want this blueprint of how to be a prepper and what you need to do as a prepper, he's kind of got it figured out. I mean, they've got, in the show, they said like 15 years worth of food storage, 15 or 20 years. I don't know about that, but I mean, a lot of it. He had his...
he's living the life, and he's going for it, and he doesn't seem to be hurting everybody, anybody. He seems to be trying to help people, because there's a bunch of other people in the video that were there that has part of his group that he's trying to make a few less mouths to feed if something bad happens. Man, I think the guys did a good job. Yeah, he's got his container home, which is set up, and actually I'll play that. I've got a little clip of his container home, but he's got that set up. Like you said, he's got dudes that a group around him, and this was just the group that was on the show. Who knows what more there is to all of this stuff when you're talking about a 15-minute segment, and then Hollywood's got to get in there and do some stuff like his shooting his container home with a 22. Yeah, man, that I was 22's most likely not going through a container, but I wonder if that was somewhat of the the National Geographic or whoever was producing. That's
exactly what I was thinking.
Got him to do that, as opposed, because if you shoot at your container home and say, yeah, I'm bullet resistance to 22s, you're probably not getting, I mean, if the world came to a cataclysmic end, you're probably not getting attacked by a bunch of people with 22s, man. There's just a lot bigger stuff out there that all pretty much of which go through a shipping container.
Yeah, and he's got dudes in his group that have a military experience. He himself is a Vietnam vet. So this couldn't have been some sort of surprise to him. Hey, it didn't work. Who would have thunk it? It had to be like the producer saying, hey man, shoot your container home. And he's like, I'm not shooting a hole in my house. And they're like, well, we'll use 22. And, and then they edited it to make it seem like he was completely shocked. But
please don't shoot your house.
His container home, I've got a clip real quick I want to play, because it is a pretty cool setup what he's got going on, and it just pretty neat. It, like I said, it's not for everyone, but he had a vision and he was able to do it, so kudos to him.
We built our house out of 9 40-foot steel shipping containers. They are designed to carry about 58,000 pounds each and be stacked 8 high. So that's an incredible 500,000 pounds of weight that these things can sustain.
And he's down in Texas too, and he went on to say in that how he could be, you get on the top of that, and you can just see for miles things coming from different directions, and he's got it set up, basically medieval castle style, where everything's the courtyard in the middle and all that stuff. So from a military standpoint, or how do you see that, or what are your thoughts on that?
It looks like I think he has it fairly well thought out. He has a bunch of crap around his house that, if you're worried about, if he wants line of sight, you give bad guys a lot of covered concealment to hide around your house. It's just like when you set up bushes and stuff around your house, you got to be careful how much room you give people to be able to hang out and observe your house or something like that. So it's a coin flip, but I think for somebody who wants to live the true being a prepper, out in the desert away from everybody, so I'm as safe as humanly possible lifestyle, I think the guy's doing a good job, man.
Yeah.
Everybody seemed pretty happy. So
you brought up a good point that I really didn't think about too, is having a bunch of junk all over the place. Hey, that's your prerogative and all that. But when you think about it from that perspective of, concealment and cover and all that stuff. But yeah, I know he's got a bus out there that he does use it for his bug out and all that stuff. But if he's got other stuff out there that, could be used as concealment, that's a very good point. But that's nitpicking at this point with the way this dude's got things going on. He's got animals. He's got ways to make actual fuel. I think methane or something like that. I mean, just everything. He's got wind generators, and I mean, dude's got it going on. So it's hard to fault him for anything he's doing. We can sit here on our computers and nitpick and say
his methane. You know what his methane generator? You know what his methane generator is, right?
Oh yeah, his pigs.
And his human and his people poop.
Yeah.
All goes in the same thing.
Yeah. So and then
and they get gas off it.
Yeah. One more thing on this one, and then we'll move on to the next dude, which I don't know that I'm going to be so nice about, but their bug out planning. I mean, he's thought about everything, which is pretty cool. They've got a couple buses that are stockpiled with stuff and all of that. He's got a group. I mean, who knows how big it actually is in the show? It was 5 or 6 people, but he's got 2 buses and a couple trucks and all that stuff. And I was thinking about that, and it's one of those who knows type things where is a bus your best option, or large vehicles like that? Because when something happens, are you going to be able to, like if the roads are blocked or something like that, what are your options at that point? And I'm sure this dude has basically thought of everything, so I'm sure he's thought of that. But it was just interesting to me. But I mean, he's got his bug out route, he's got his bug out location. I mean, like I said, all the stuff we read about as preppers, this dude is basically able to do. So it's pretty neat.
Well, and at least for the show, he tested his thing, right? And you could see how kind of chaotic it was even at that. If you truly want to get well at bugging out, have a set bunch of stuff that you're going to load in, always ready to go, pre-packaged, and the easiest to handle packages, and whether it's suitcase, Pelican cases, whatever, duffel bags, so that you can grab your stuff and go. That's where I've seen when I did my crazy leave Vegas and see what was happening with the pandemic. It was the same thing. It was really disorganized on the loading. So the loadings where you can make up a bunch of time, and if you're loading to bug out, you don't want to forget any of the important stuff. And by rehearsing that, you're less likely to forget anything that's super important. So
yeah. And you brought up a good point. In the show, they were talking about how if they had to stop or whatever to camp overnight or do whatever, that they would basically do like the pioneers did, circle the wagons, which is a good idea, I think. But you brought up a good point about this picture. Kind of explain what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, so where you see the 2 buses pointed, and if you saw it from an angle looking over the white truck, both of those buses have to turn their wheels to get away from that truck. In other words, if they go straight, they're going to hit that truck with the way they're lined up. You don't ever want to have that happen. If you can park it like angles to make like a triangle or some sort of oblique where everybody can drive straight out, or back kind of straight out as well, if you can manage it, so that way you're never stuck. Because right now, if that truck and a trailer went down, those buses would have to add time to getting away from whatever the threat is by turning their wheels and maneuvering. So yeah,
makes sense. And that's just one of those little things that you don't think about. But honestly, I hesitate to talk a whole lot of smack, because I know that Hollywood and the producers and all that, they want the dumb crap to happen so they can put it on TV and all that stuff. They it didn't seem like they had a whole lot of dumb crap with this dude. Now, a couple of the other ones, different story, but
yeah. Well, like you said, I think the 22 where they shot at the side of the thing, I think that was their dumb crap that they got the production company got them to do.
Yeah, the production company was like, we got to find something with this dude.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the practical preppers or whatever gave them a score, and they really didn't give him a score. They just said, your crap's amazing. You did a good job with this. And then they kind of nitpicked a little bit here and there, talked about his food storage being all in one place, and he basically said, well, if they're that close and they come to get my food storage, I'm just assuming that we're all dead, which, or gone, one or the other. So they rated him really well. And I agreed. I mean, he's somebody that is at a level so much higher than me. I find it really hard to, talk crap. So, very
well,
cool.
I mean, at the same time, though, he's living that life, or he's looking at that stuff. It looks like day in and day out, as to how he can better prepare. You got a lot of normal life stuff going on that he doesn't. He doesn't have the pond that he has to work on. He doesn't necessarily to make it look nice for the 3 months of summer that you have your little pond bubbling out front. Right. So, I mean, that takes time. So if you focus just on, say, hey, I'm going to practice bugging out, you get really good at it. It wouldn't take anybody very long. Do it a couple of times. You'll get so much better at it because you've tried and failed. You're going to screw things up.
Yeah.
And then you're going to not make you're going to not make those mistakes or not make them as bad the next time because you're aware of them.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier too, is his wife makes what he does absolutely possible, because she's the one doing all the work. She's the one canning the stuff,
Right.
cooking the stuff. She's working her butt off, and while he's playing with his solar stuff and doing stuff like that. But that's all part of being that team. That it's a whole lot easier when you're that husband and wife couple, or if you've got a couple people, doing on the same page with everything. It's that you've got your part, I've got my part. And we'll get it done. So just very cool. Yeah.